G'day travel lovers! Welcome back to Whimsical Roaming, your passport to adventure. Today we're diving into some iconic Sydney and New South Wales locations that have been the backdrop for big screen magic. If you're a movie buff or just love discovering new places, stick around. You're going to love this journey through these cinematic landscapes. The Great Gatsby. First up, The Great Gatsby. Baz Luhrmann, the legendary Australian director, turned Sydney into 1920s New York for the 2013 film. The St Patrick's College building in Manly, now the International College of Management, became Jay Gatsby's lavish mansion. The desolate Valley of the Ashes? That's the former White Bay Power Station. Nick Carraway's bungalow? Built right in Centennial Park. And don't forget Waverley Cemetery, Richmond Polo Club, Rivendell Health Facility in Concord, the King's School in Parramatta, and Breenhold Gardens in the Blue Mountains, all featured in the film. The Fall Guy. In early 2023, Ryan Gosling shut down the Sydney Harbour Bridge for The Fall Guy. Imagine a thrilling chase across the bridge with Gosling hanging off the back of a speeding truck. Sydney Harbour and the Sydney Opera House forecourt are front and centre in this film, along with a boat chase through Rushcutters Bay. More action takes place around Circular Quay, Elizabeth Street, and Martin Place. And those beach scenes? Filmed in Canal, Sutherlandshire. Anyone But You. Sydney practically stars in 2023's Anyone But You. This romantic comedy starring Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell has the couple gallivanting all over the city, with major scenes in front of the Sydney Opera House, on a yacht at Pittwater, outside the Queen Victoria building, at Jones Bay Wharf, and in Double Bay. Glorious beach scenes were filmed at Palm Beach, and the movie's central wedding takes place near Bondi in Marks Park, Tamarama. The Matrix Trilogy. Released in 1999, Keanu Reeves' The Matrix was one of the first major international movies shot in Australia. While major landmarks were edited out to keep the location generic, savvy viewers will spot the Sydney skyline. Filming took place around the CBD, including the Colonial State Bank building, where Morpheus was held captive, and the iconic Lloyd Rees Fountain in Martin Place. The helicopter flight scenes give a fantastic overview of the city, with sparkling skyscrapers below. Mission Impossible 2. Sydney shines in Mission Impossible 2, with the harbour and its icons featuring prominently. The historic Bear Island Fort in La Perouse serves as the villain's hideout, and at one point Tom Cruise rides his motorbike across the footbridge through a ball of flames. The famous motorcycle duel on the rocks? Filmed at Bora Point in Malabar. Other locations include Randwick Racecourse and the lavish Boomerang Mansion in Elizabeth Bay. And in a bit of movie trickery, Argyle Street in the Rocks stands in for Seville, Spain. Strictly Ballroom. Strictly Ballroom was Baz Luhrmann's first movie, released in 1992. It was based on a short play he wrote and produced at NIDA in 1984. The film was shot mainly around Sydney's inner west. The striking Art Deco Petersham Town Hall was the backdrop for the flamboyant dance scenes, and the fictional dance studio Kendall's is on Marrickville Road, though the facade has been redeveloped since. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert put drag into the mainstream in Australia and showcased some spectacular filming locations. The movie starts and ends in Sydney, with scenes at the Imperial Hotel in Erskineville, a pub that's hosted drag shows for over 40 years. Once the trio heads into the outback, many scenes were filmed around Broken Hill, and the historic Palace Hotel gets a starring role. Movie buffs can even spend the night in the Priscilla Suite where the characters stayed. Australia. Baz Luhrmann strikes again with Australia, starring Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman, filmed all over the country. Sydney spots you might recognise include the heritage-listed Strickland House in Vaucluse, which doubled for Darwin's Government House, and Camelot in Camden, which stood in for Lady Sarah Ashley's, Nicole Kidman's, English home. Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit brings Beatrix Potter's Lake District to life, but did you know Sydney's Centennial Park stood in for this quintessential English countryside? The houses were sets, but the lush, leafy surrounds are all Centennial Park. Central Station played London's Paddington Station, and Mortuary Station served as a quiet country station in the Lakes District. Superman Returns. Superman Returns is like a tour of Sydney on film. It features Wynyard Station, the Lloyd Rees Fountain in Martin Place, the Radisson Blu Plaza Hotel, the Art Gallery of New South Wales, and the Australian Museum. Rivendell Health Facility in Concord was Lex Luthor's mansions. Lois Lane lived on James Cook Island and Sylvania Waters, and Narrabeen Beach stood in for a tropical island. Muriel's Wedding. Want to act out your favourite wedding fantasies like Muriel from Muriel's Wedding? Head to St Mark's Anglican Church in Darling Point, where Muriel married South African swimmer David van Arkel. You can also walk down Oxford Street in Darlinghurst to see where Muriel and Rhonda got their first big city jobs, though the facades look very different from their 90s heyday. Unbroken. Unbroken, directed by Angelina Jolie, was filmed entirely in Australia. Cockatoo Island was transformed into a Japanese prisoner of war camp, with its concrete buildings and industrial docks creating an authentically chilling atmosphere. Scenes were also shot at Blacktown International Sports Park in Camden's Oslo Park. Outside Sydney, the small town of Werris Park near Tamworth stood in for 1920s California. Mad Max. The first Mad Max film catapulted the Australian film industry and a young Mel Gibson to fame. 2 movies in the franchise were filmed in New South Wales. Mad Max 2 Beyond Thunderdome was shot around the ghost town of Silverton, near Broken Hill. Visit the Mad Max 2 Museum for memorabilia. For 2024's Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, the Riverina town of Hay stars as a post-apocalyptic wasteland, with some scenes filmed at an old sand mine in Canal. Babe. The countryside around Robertson in Southern Highlands was the idyllic setting for Babe and Babe 2 Pig in the City. While Hoggett's Farm was a set, many scenes were filmed in the gardens of the historic Robertson Hotel. The final scene, where Babe achieves his sheep-pig dreams, was filmed at the Moss Vale Showground. And finally, The Dish. Telling the story of Parkes Observatory's role in the moon landing, The Dish was mostly filmed on location in New South Wales. The observatory's huge radio telescope is the star of the movie, and you can visit today to learn the story behind the incredible feat. The town of Forbes, around 30 kilometres away, stood in for 1960s era parks thanks to its well-preserved heritage buildings. If you love this cinematic adventure through Sydney and New South Wales, hit that like button and subscribe to Whimsical Roaming for more travel tales and hidden gems. We love bringing you these behind-the-scenes looks at iconic movie locations, and there's so much more to explore. From Hollywood sets to local treasures, we'll take you on journeys you won't find in any guidebook. So stay tuned and let us know in the comments which film location you're dying to visit. See you in the next video, and happy roaming!